In this video, we're going to be making a pouch for a journal using a manila envelope. So let's get started. Hello everyone, it's Jean from the Inky Owl Studio. Welcome. Welcome to my new subscribers and welcome back to those who are returning. I hope that things are going well with you. I am going to be doing a new project, but I'm still going to be in the pink Christmas theme. I'm really taken with this idea. I find it to be very cheerful. And sometimes we need a little bit of cheerfulness, don't we? I am going to be making a pouch from a 10 by 13 inch envelope, manila envelope. And this is a recycled one. And you probably could use this idea with any size. It's just that you'll have to make the journal smaller. So it's going to be a pouch to store a journal inside. I find the 10 by 13 a nice generous size. But like I say, you can make a mini journal with a little mini envelope. You know, you can get the smaller size envelopes, but the same idea will apply. So the first thing I'm going to do, of course, is remove the clasp because we do not need that. So if you can find an envelope that doesn't have a clasp and just has the stickiness, that would be great, because this is going to be a bit of a pain to remove. Okay, so we'll probably, oh, there we go. Now, even if it tears a little bit, it's okay, because we're going to be covering this with paper. So it's not critical. You know, a little bit of tearing is fine. We'll just toss that out. And the next thing I want to do is think about how wide, how wide do I want my journal to be? So I want at least 5 inches. So I'm going to measure 5 inches from the bottom here and make a mark on both sides. Now I can either score it or just simply fold it, and I'm going to fold mine. It's already been folded because it's a used envelope. But it doesn't matter because we're going to be covering it with paper anyways. So that's about right, I do believe. Let me get that. Well, let me start that little fold here. And a little fold over here on this side. Probably should have marked it on the other side. Here we go. And so there is that fold. You know, my voice is still not 100%, but it's getting there. So there is 5 inches there, right? Yeah, it's 5 inches. And now I want to put a gusset in here because, you know, your journal is going to get filled up a little bit and it's going to take up some room. So I want at least an inch, at the very least, an inch of a gusset down here. So I'm going to mark it an inch here. Now, you know, the size of this gusset is going to depend upon your journal. If you're making a little tiny journal, then you may only need like a 1/2 inch. So, you know, the size of your journal is going to make a difference. So in this bigger envelope, I'm putting in an inch, but you may want to only put in a 1/2 inch. If you're making like a smaller envelope. And then we're going to go ahead and fold it at that. So this way you can put in a journal and have it, you know, be able to put some stuff inside the journal. Because if you just closed it up flat like this, then you'd be really limited as to how thick you can make your journal. So that's why I'm putting a gusset inside here. All right. Okay. I just figured out that because this is a used envelope, I see the markings down here and I don't want to see that. So I'm going to put it the other way around, real quick like. And also, now's the time to think about what if you want to line the inside of it. Now, this portion of the flap is going to have to be lined. So you're going to have to line at least this much here, because that you're going to see the inside of that when you open it up. But I am just going to go ahead and I'm just going to line the whole thing because I want to cover all this up. So I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to glue it on all the way on the inside. So let me do that off camera, and I'll be right back. All right, I glued paper here on the inside of the pouch. I overlapped because I had to use 2 sheets. I did overlap it a little bit, and recreased the inside there. What I wish I had done, because I had enough paper, I wish I had wrapped it around to the inside instead of cutting it even with the side here. I wish I'd done that. I mean, it's still going to work fine, but in retrospect, that probably would have been a better way of doing it. So if because it is right to the edge, I had to go all the way around just to make sure that it is glued really well to the very, very tippy edge all the way. So I went through and I think I pretty much found all the spots and had to put a little extra glue in there to make sure it was fully glued on the edge. But had I wrapped the paper around, it probably would have solved that problem. But that's okay. It's still going to work just peachy. So now we're going to have to work with the lid or the cover. And so I'm going to go up 5 inches from the score line there. I'm going to go up 5 inches because it has to match the 5 inches here on this side, then it has to match 5 inches again, and then we have to match the gusset, which is like another inch. So right here at this this measurement here, this 6-inch measurement, is where I'm going to be folding the flap to go over. And so that is 5 inches for the width of the journal, and the gusset is 1 inch, so that makes it 6 inches. And this is where we're going to be folding it over, like so. All right. And I think I'm going to score this just because it's pretty heavy with a lot of paper on it. I think it just might be a better idea to score it at this point. Okay, here we go. That way I can follow that line a little bit better this way. Okay. All right. There we, oops, going the wrong way already. Already going the wrong way. Okay. Here we go. All right, let's score it on this side as well. So kind of making it up on the fly as I go here. There. Okay. So then, this is going to be the flap part of it that goes over the journal there. So we're scoring it there, and we're also going to score it at the 5-inch. I'm trying to match the gusset that's here on the lid. So I'm going to come down another inch from there. I'm going to make another score line. And this way, you've got this to come up over like that. So you see, what the goal then is to have this going on, right? So that you have as much of a gusset here as you do down here. So this is what our goal is going to be. All right. So we measure our 5 inches up, put a score line, and another inch, and put another score line, and that will match this 5 inches with another inch and a score line. All right. Hopefully that was clear. And now we are ready to think about the front, and how we're going to close the gussets up. So I've got cloth. We're going to close these gussets up with cloth. And you can use muslin, you can use any kind of cotton fabric, pretty much any fabric you really care to. And you'll need about 3 inches wide and about 5 inches long, or whatever your whatever this ends up being, and in your particular envelope. You'll need to have you know, the width of your gusset plus another like 3 times the width of your gusset. So whatever this width is, you'll want 3 times that amount for the width of your cloth and of course your length. Now you need to decide, do I want to put my cloth or whatever you've chosen, do I want it to show, you know, like this? Or do I want to hide it like so? So you got to make that decision, you know, whichever one will work for you. I am going to hide it. So I'll want to put this on before I put this on. And also we have to think about the back here. So yep, I think I wanted to hide it all the way around. So I'm going to put this on first. Otherwise, you'd be putting this on last. But I'm just going to do this first. So we'll just put glue here like so. So now these here are cut exactly the width of whatever this is. They're cut, that's the length they're cut in. I'm going to do that. And now what I'm going to do too, and this might be helpful if you mark it. So you're going to measure. Let me get my pin here. I have a pin. I do. And I'm going to measure from right here to about here. I'm going to measure 1 inch, so that I know that when I glue it to this side, I want to allow this much in between. Okay, and so now we're just going to put glue down here. And so you got to consider your glue and the thickness of your fabric. Fabric tack, sometimes the shininess comes through on a thin fabric. So you might want to use another kind. All right there. Okay. Glitter glue would work well with this, but fabric tack dries quickly. So because I am doing this on camera, so that way, you see we have our inch. Pretty much have our inch going on there. Okay. And I am just going to finish out gluing this the rest of the way. So this is how you can make that gusset with a lot, you know, without a whole bunch of fuss and problems. It's all glue, no sewing. Not that you couldn't sew, but you don't have to sew. And it makes it kind of expandable there a little bit. Okay. I just think that it's just better than using paper. And I think it's much easier. I feel it's easier anyways, just to do this. So let me do the second one here, just to give you an idea how that's going. All right, about an inch onto there, approximately. And I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to measure 1 inch here. Well, you don't have to pin. You can just probably, I think you could probably see that. Hopefully my eyes will see that. Okay, we got a little bit of that going on there. I'm going to put down my glue. Okay, like so. And then I'm going to watch and make sure that I allow that inch, so you can see where I am coming up to my marks there, and just putting it over like so. And that way I know I have my inch. or whatever measurement you have. There we go. Make sure this is all down. Yep, that all looks good. All right, so I'm not really caring about the Fabri-Tac glue too much because I'm covering it up. So you can see, you know, Fabri-Tac sometimes comes through. So glitter glue, if I was going to have it show, probably the glitter glue would be a better choice, but that's just what I'm doing there. And so now we've got that taken care of, which is very nice. And now we have to think about our closures. All right, so for my closure, I am going to be putting in a tie. What did I do here? I'm going to be putting in a tie and button. So I'm going to have some ribbon glued down here, and I'm going to choose a button to wrap around the top of that. So that's how my closure is going to be. You can choose to do all ribbon. You could put a ribbon here or on top, doesn't matter. Probably on top, I would say, and then wrap it around 3 or 4 times as a closure. You put an eyelet there, you know. I'm sure you have lots of ideas that you could do, but that's the one that I am going to be doing. So I'm going to put this down here on the very bottom. So let's just put this guy here and the side, that little space there. Okay. So that is where the tie will come up to meet my button. And now I have to go choose a button, so I'll be right back. So I'm decided on this white button. It needs to be large enough to wrap around, and couldn't find a pink one, but I think the white is just fine. So this is going to be the top, the cover part of the flap of my paper. So I'm going to sew this button right here in the middle. I've marked it pretty close to that. And I'm using a heavier thread than usual, but you can probably use regular thread, would be fine. I'm just using one that's just a little heavier is all. So I'm just going to come in. I'm going to try and choose the same holes, pretty close to the same holes each time I go in and out here. But I don't want it too tight though. I do want to kind of make it a little loose, a little looser than usual as well. I don't want it to be super tight. I do want a little bit of room so that it can move around a bit. One trick for that is to get something that is a little has a little bit of here, something like this. It has a little bit of dimension to it, just a little bit, and sort of you can hold it under there as you sew your button on, so that in the end it'll be loose, but it's fiddly. And I find I can do just as well by sewing it a little loosely and gentle that way, just not bringing it up super tight. And so we'll come up over here on this hole. Actually, it would be a lot easier if I did it this way. I'm going to poke right here just to make sure I catch that the next time. Okay. I come to the end of that, and I'm just going to come in here and go in a few times back and forth, and it's going to be glued anyways, so that's not really that big of an issue. I'm going to sort of take it and wiggle it up a little bit like that to get everything kind of even. So there's the button, and that's ready to go on. So now I'm going to glue on my paper, and I have inked around these pages a little bit, but not in a significant amount. just enough to take away that white line that is sometimes there when you cut. And so we're just going to glue this one down like so. Okay, and then I will put this on here like so. Now sadly, because my paper is not borderless, there is going to be a little gap up here. So I'm going to have to cut that off there on top because of that. But otherwise, let's just get inside here and make sure it's all down well. And I think I might come over here at this button area and just, oh, that's pretty much, okay, it's sealed down good. All right, very nice. So when that dries a little bit more, I'm going to have to cut that edge off. You won't have to if you're using scrapbook paper or borderless paper printed, but I do, sadly. All right, so that is great. And then once that gets dry, we're going to rescore our fold lines down here and make the flap come down. So while we're waiting for that, I'm going to go ahead and glue on the front of it, and I'll be right back. So it's all finished here on top. I rescored the lines and folded them down nicely. So this is essentially how it's going to be. Of course, once you get something on the inside, it'll look more filled out. But that is going to be the closure for this little guy here. I am now going to put something here along the bottom. So I cut a strip that was slightly under an inch, just slightly, ever so slightly. And I'm going to glue a strip down here to cover this up. Now, what this is pretty, and it's kind of heavy paper. It's probably 47-pound weight, but you might want to even choose a cardstock to put down here to make it firm. You know, underneath a thinner paper, you might want to put a cardstock down here first, just to kind of give the bottom a little bit more reinforcement. And so we'll just put this down inside here. Okay, there. There's the bottom. So I'm going to press it down here on the inside, make sure it gets pressed down well. There, and then you've got that covered up here on the bottom. So yeah, it's all ready now to be filled up. So that then completes our little pouch here, and we will be working on the little journal that goes on the inside the next time. So thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe and join me again as we continue to work on this little pink Christmas pouch and journal. And you have a great and crafty day. Bye.